Hello and welcome to Matrix Live. My guests today are Benedict and Michael. I don't dare to pronounce his first name in German because it would be terrible. They are here to talk about Trixnity and the Trixnity Messenger and a lot more topics that we are going to cover in depth. But first, welcome guys. And can you tell us what is Trixnity?
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation. Trixnity is a Matrix SDK written in Kotlin multi-platform. And you can see it as a competitor to the Matrix Rust SDK or the Matrix Dart SDK because it's a bit focused on the client development. But you have, despite the other frameworks, you have a lot more. You have also server capabilities or app service capabilities. So you have one SDK for almost everything you need to develop something in the Matrix ecosystem. And it's also cross-platform. So you have one code base and can run it on the web, on your desktop or on a server if you have some bot or home server implementation. That's the short version of what Trixnity is.
All right, so first and foremost, Trixnity is a SDK, but as you said, there is the Rust SDK, there is the JS SDK, there is a Dart SDK. So why creating your own SDK? It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It started a bit as a hobby project. I started implementing an app service, bridging SMS. So you can send SMS to your friends who don't have Matrix. You can also create group chats with multiple SMS users in it, and everyone will get the response if they respond with SMS in that room and so on. That was my first contact with Matrix. And at that time, it was written in Spring Boot and Kotlin. And then there started an evolution because I found out that Kotlin is also multi-platform capable, and I played a lot around with Kotlin multi-platform and used this project to start adapting it. And first I created all the APIs you have, the client server API, the server API, the application service API, and so on. And then I continued to do more. But the reason I have done it was mostly it started as a hobby project. And then I saw, okay, if you want to implement a client that is working on all platforms, you have to use 3 or 4 or more SDKs. And as a hobby project, you can't write 3 clients in 3 different languages with 3 different SDKs. So I started using this hobby project to evolve a more fully featured SDK that can be used for my own projects as some experimenting with client implementation multi-platform. So the first thing was a bot development. So I just wanted to have a bot that says when comes the next train. So little fun things, and it was really cool to see. Okay, you can start the bot in the browser. Yeah, that's fun, and I continued with it. And at that time, there were no other multi-platform SDKs. Rust SDK started. And the Dart SDK is written in Dart, and I don't like Dart. It's a bit like a flavor of programming language that feels like a Kotlin variant, but with slightly different, but not slightly similar, but not so easy to use syntax. And the problem with AGPL. So it's a bit you cannot use it commercial. So later on, that was also a requirement that we want to use this SDK commercial. So we continued using Trixnity instead of another SDK that does not exist at this time. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, AGPL, you can sell products that are built with AGPL, but they need to be open source and released under the AGPL. And some companies are not too fond of getting AGPL software deployed. Okay, interesting. And I heard about the Trixnity Messenger. So I guess it's a messenger built on top of the Trixnity SDK.
Yes, that is where I come in.
All right.
Because Trixnity is mostly Benedict's work. So he did all the foundational work, like the Swiss Army knife of Matrix, where you have all Matrix APIs hastened into a Kotlin code base, and then you can use it from Kotlin. And we started implementing a client around like 2.5 years, maybe 3 years ago. We started some experiments with clients and also native clients, which is also possible with Kotlin multi-platform because it can also support Swift and Swift UI or JavaScript in the web. And when we started doing that, we quickly realized that the SDK is really, really good. But when you develop a messenger, it has very specific needs. It's like you have accounts, you have settings for this account, you have this the notifications, the room list that most of the clients should have the same room list. And also if you develop it for different platforms, well, the room list should always look or feel the same. But Matrix is very flexible, but it on the Trixnity API level, it did not delivered all the atomic features we needed, the atomic data we needed to display a room list, for example. But we had to do heavy lifting to really show a room list where you have the latest messages are on top and you have a name for the room, an image, and so on. So we started to implement messenger features on top. And this was first in the UI, and then we quickly realized, no, that's no good place for logic. UI is just please be pretty, and but logic should be somewhere else because then you can test it, and it's also it has many advantages to put the logic elsewhere. So we introduced another layer. This is Trixnity Messenger then, which took all the data from Matrix and from the Trixnity SDK and put it into, we called it view models because it's it uses like a pattern that's called model view model. And we put all the data into view models, and those are presented to the UI, and the UI does not have to think much. It's just like, oh, I'm a room list, so I should look for a room list view model. Oh, there it is. It has all the information for me to display all the room list elements. So that was the evolution from Trixnity to Trixnity Messenger. So we built another layer on top that we can share between all our different implementations for our client, e.g. for the iOS and the web client and so on and so
So
forth.
Trixnity Messenger doesn't have any UI. It's not a messenger app. It's a messenger layer you can use to build an app.
Yes, it's really hard to find a term how to describe it correctly. The best solution we came up with is headless messenger. It's a messenger. It works like a messenger, and you can use it like a messenger, but it has no UI rendered on top. So I always say, well, there's a method to send a message there, and the UI should just render a button that can be pressed, and then this should trigger the send message in the Trixnity Messenger SDK. So yeah, but headless messenger is our best name solution yet for for Trixnity Messenger.
All right, and I think we're going to move a little bit up in the stack with my next question. I don't think you were here at FOSDEM 2024, but I remember at FOSDEM 2023, Benedict, I think it was you, there was a presentation about a client called Timmy. that is a TI messenger. So my guess is that Timmy is the messenger you built on top of Trixnity Messenger. But can you remind us briefly what a TI messenger is in the first place and what Timmy really is?
Yeah, a TI messenger is a term that the Gematik, a German healthcare organization that is specifying technical stuff for the healthcare sector in Germany, and they call their messenger TI messenger. And there's also a law that defined that there has to be a messenger for the healthcare system, and the Gematik is the one who writes the specification for that. And technically, it's just a matrix messenger with some features on top, like the central search for persons or organization, and thus that stuff. It's also a closed federation. You have a proxy on top of each home server, which filters some events or requests out, so you cannot invite each person in the network, only persons you have contacted with the QR code, or persons that are in this central person and organization register. So there are some components on top of Matrix that they defined to fulfill all the requirements they found to be needed in the healthcare sector. Yeah, I hope that's good enough for an explanation.
Yeah, that's a good explanation of what TI Messenger is. And how about Timmy?
Well, Timmy is our messenger that implements such a TI messenger. That's why the name Timmy was coined. And this Timmy is a TI messenger, and it's built like you said, rightly said, it's built on Trixnity Messenger. But there's one small piece still missing in the equation now, because Trixnity Messenger, we wanted to keep it clean, so to say, because like Benedict said, the TI Messenger specification is like a layer on top of Matrix. It's not like they redefined the whole protocol, but they just made some adjustments and some things on top. And we built our architecture in such a way that we have Trixnity Messenger, which only represents features in a matrix messenger. And we built another layer on top, so it's lots and lots of layers with us, which is we call it TI Messenger extensions, or TIM extensions for short. And those extensions, they use an extension mechanism we defined in Trixnity Messenger that elevates the matrix messenger to a TI messenger on the client side. And then the Timmy on top uses both layers. So it uses Trixnity Messenger and the extensions, and thus it's a TI messenger and can use all the features that are specified by the Gematik.
But another note to it, Timmy itself can also use as a matrix-only messenger. The cool thing about the extension mechanism we added is that you can just write one line at Tim module, and then you have a TI messenger. And if you remove that line, you have a matrix messenger. So on my personal phone, I just remove that line and have a matrix messenger for my everyday usage. And for the TI messenger, we have this module activated and can roll it out as a TI messenger. So I think that's really cool, because with this approach, we have the possibility to create a lot of messenger with the same code bases, but different targets. Yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned that the whole Trixnity adventure started as a hobby, but it seems like there is a very specific needs that exists today with Gematik creating a TI Messenger, well, specifying a TI Messenger. I'm curious about the history here. What led you to create Timmy as a TI Messenger from Trixnity?
Well, I think it started like 3 years ago, where I was working at that time. I was working as an IT consultant, like the 10 years before, and I was not involved in any medical applications and IT whatever. But I knew Benedict from a job before, and he was very interested in the medical IT space, so to say, and he knew that that Gematik was doing such a specification where they said, well, we have to introduce and we want to introduce a messenger for the German healthcare system. And he knew from experience, also from personal experience, that this would be a very good thing for the healthcare system in Germany. And he simply asked me if I am interested to join him on this journey. And I was crazy enough to say yes. And then we had multiple discussions about the architecture and how to proceed. And then this hobby project, Trixnity, came up. And we quickly realized that we have to do some groundwork, like developing Trixnity and also then a messenger on top to develop a TIMessenger, because all the other solutions at that time, at least, were also with a hefty price, because then you had to implement like 3 different messengers for different platforms or whatever. So we started a bit naive and like, okay, we implemented all ourselves, and how hard can it be? Like always. And then we realized, it can be a bit hard, but over the time, we implemented most of the features that Matrix has to offer. I think Trixnity is feature complete at the moment.
I think voice over IP is missing, but
okay, yeah.
Mostly, yeah.
Mostly feature complete. And Trixnity Messenger, it grows with our needs for the Timmy Messenger. So that was a kind of a natural thing that developed from there. But we started because all the other alternatives were, like I said, at the time, were a bit lackluster for our purpose. And that's why we started to do it on our own.
All right, so we have been mentioning Trixnity as the base SDK, then Trixnity Messenger as the layer on top, and then Timmy on top of that. Are the 3 of them open source?
No, not yet. Trixnity is under the Apache 2 license, so can be really widely used also in companies that don't want to make their own code open source, like in the AGPL. Then we have the Trixnity Messenger layer that is under the AGPL. And we also provide a license that you cannot use without AGPL, so a dual license. And at that time, Timmy is still closed source, but we have plans to release it also as AGPL and also as Matrix only messenger. So the whole community gets another messenger. And but at that time, we didn't have enough resources to go that step to the open source license.
Yes, doing open source properly is indeed more than just opening your code and just calling it today. It's much more difficult than that. The reason I'm asking about the license is if I want to contribute to Trixnity or Trixnity Messenger, can I do it? Are contributions welcome? Or do you have a public roadmap for those where you are seeking actively for help? Or are you just accepting contributions if people think some things can be improved?
Yeah, for Trixnity, there is no real roadmap. We have some issues with some feature that may be cool or some bugs. Yeah, I think there are also some bugs, maybe. I'm not sure if they are already present. But there is no real roadmap because it's nearly feature complete, as said, but we are open to contributions. There are some contributions. So, for example, someone added a complete new database to Trixnity because you can exchange the databases in Trixnity. That's what's also really cool. And for Trixnity Messenger, we also accept contributions, but you have to sign a CLA so we can provide a dual license. Yeah. But I don't think we have a real roadmap for Trixnity Messenger. It's just evolving over iteration. And when we found something, we implemented. Yeah.
That makes sense. But let's say I'm not necessarily a developer myself and I don't want to bother with all that. Is it possible for me to get commercial support for Trixnity, Trixnity Messenger, or even Timmy?
We at the moment we mostly focus on the German healthcare sector. So everything that is TIMessenger related, you can talk to us and you can get licenses and you can also get support. But everything outside of that realm is a bit out of our focus right now, I have to say, because like we talked in our little architecture with the layers and Trixnity Messenger, and then there's TIM extensions. So you could easily imagine that there are other extensions for other purposes. So in the future, we hope to branch out and also deliver messengers that are not only suitable for the German healthcare system, but at the moment we are a small company, so we have to focus on the TI messenger. So that's where our priorities are right now. But yeah, in the future, we might do other stuff than only
I
TI.
realize you say you are a small company, but I don't think we have mentioned the name of your company once. Who are you?
It's the Connect 2X. So Connect with a 2, number 2, and then an X at the end.
Okay, and we can find you on connect2x.net if you want to reach out to you.
.de is
.de?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, German company, so yeah.
All right. Is there anything we forgot to mention?
Oh, we could talk about it all day, but it would be really technical stuff, and maybe a bit boring for users. But yeah, as Benedict said, we would like to also put out all the other layers that are on top of Trixnity Messengers as open source, and especially the Timmy client. But this is still, on the client side, we are still a bit tangled with the TI modules. And we also have an idea how to separate it and also release a matrix-only messenger that is without the UI components for TI Messenger. But this is more, it's not an architectural question because we know how to solve it, but it's more of a time question right now. So please give us some time. We want to, and we really like to open source this project. But as you said, it's not just like, okay, I put it out in the open and then I'm done, because we want to do it right and we want to give something valuable to the community and not something that is half cooked. So yeah. But
Right.
with a bit of time, we hopefully have an open source Timmy.
Excellent.
And maybe just in addition, there's also a Trixnity matrix room. So if you have questions or need help, we are mostly online at a work day. And
Okay.
I guess we help the people that have questions very quick until now, because there are not so many people.
All right, so we're going to leave a link to the Trixnity room in the description of the video so people can reach out to you. Well, thank you very much, guys. It was very nice to have you around. I'm really pleased to see that Matrix is a mature market, actually. In Germany, it's possible to build a company on top of Matrix, selling Matrix services. So it's really exciting to see that you are succeeding in that mission. I wish you all the success you deserve. And in the meantime, I'll see you around Matrix Live.